You know, marketing attribution was pretty rough before the last couple of decades. Back then, you didn't always know which campaigns led to which purchases, and you couldn't even see where a lot of your website traffic came from. Crazy, right? Oh, wait, I'm just describing the present day. It wasn't that long ago that businesses could track exactly how users came to their websites, but that's gotten harder and harder to do. Part of the reason it's so hard now is because of zero-click attribution. All right, so what is zero-click attribution? Well, it starts when someone does a Google search and sees your website pop up in the search results. Some people will click on your website when they see it. Of course, some will ignore it completely, but some people will do neither. They'll notice your website, they'll keep it in mind, but they won't click on it right then and there. Instead, they'll manually visit your website later on. You'll notice two things here. On the one hand, the act of seeing your website drove these users toward becoming leads. On the other hand, they didn't actually click on your site when they first saw it, so you have no idea which searches led to those leads. In other words, you can't attribute those leads to a specific marketing channel. That's where zero-click attribution comes in. It's the challenge of trying to attribute marketing results when you don't have any clicks to track. So, let's say you run a pest control company and you publish a blog post about ways to prevent roaches. If someone Googles how to prevent roaches, they might see where Google pulls content from your page to answer their question. They can see that info is from your site, so later, when they need pest control services, they think of you and become a customer. But here's the thing, they don't actually click on your site. Normally, you could use an analytics tool connected to your website to track where site visitors come from. But since this user doesn't actually click on the link to visit your site, there's nothing for you to track. You'll never have any idea that your blog post was the reason they converted. Even in Google itself, a lot of searches have an AI overview at the top. And that's not even to mention all the people who might look for information on ChatGPT, Perplexity, or other AI platforms. Basically, zero-click searches aren't going anywhere. This is the future, folks. A lot of marketers are really frustrated over this. When they don't know which marketing campaigns are driving which conversions, it makes it really hard for them to figure out which campaigns are effective and which ones aren't. That means they have a hard time improving their marketing over time and communicating the actual return on their marketing investment. You might be feeling that frustration too, and it's understandable. I mean, this does create a challenge for businesses who want to make data-driven improvements to their marketing. But don't panic. Keep in mind that successful marketing existed before data tracking and can exist after it too. So what can you do about zero-click attribution? Step one is to realize that even when people don't click, they can still be influenced by your marketing. The fact that you can't track every path to conversion doesn't mean those conversions aren't happening. You can still drive leads and revenue with zero-click searches. It might be helpful to think of zero-click searches less as directly driving sales and more as spreading brand awareness. It's kind of like if you put up a billboard or hand out flyers. You obviously have no way of tracking every person who looks at your billboard or takes a flyer. But the goal of those strategies is to get more people thinking about your brand. How do you make sure your marketing is effective if you can't track it, though? The answer is, go where your audience already is. When you put up a billboard, you don't just put it up anywhere. You put it up in an area where you tend to get a lot of customers. So, do the same thing with your digital marketing. Target keywords that your target audience is likely to search for. If you're not sure what those keywords are, use tools like Ahrefs to see which keywords are getting the most search volume. And check out your competitors' websites to see which keywords they're targeting. Plus, you can always consider surveying your existing customers to see what channels, searches, and pages led them to your business. Also though, keep in mind that not all searches are zero-click. There's still a lot of searches that do end in clicks, and you can still track those. You can use the data you get from those searches to inform your strategy. So it's not like each of your campaigns has to be a shot in the dark. What I'm trying to say here is zero-click searches are very manageable. Yeah, you can't track them the way you've probably gotten used to tracking clicks in the past couple of decades, but that's okay. There's still a lot of searches you can track, and even with the ones you can't, that doesn't mean they aren't still driving conversions. Of course, you still need to have a good search engine optimization, or SEO, strategy for any of your search campaigns to be successful. If you aren't clear on how to get good results from your SEO, We've got plenty of other helpful videos on our channel that you can check out. Be sure to subscribe to get notified whenever we release new ones. Well, folks, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.